Welcome to The Doctor Is In, your weekly house call on the radio. It's where straight talk meets science. Join your host, Dr. Greg Scher, every other week, joined by medical experts, specialists, and frontline pros, breaking down the issues that affect your health, your family, and your future. If you've got a question for the doctor, the phone lines are open, 505-243-3333. And now, Dr. Greg Scher.
Oh, yeah, this is, I'm going to start this out differently than I usually do. Usually I say, I have this esteemed guest, this super qualified, great pedigree. No, I'm going to say, you're the bastard that wakes me up every night. That's what I'm going to start this one out with. We have a star-studded cast, and I'm referencing John Stanley. He is a great friend, but we kind of know each other across the phone lines, where he calls me at 3:00 in the morning and tells me someone's brain is falling out of their head. Isn't that right?
That's very true.
I think you enjoy it. I think you're like, I'm going to dial him and he's going to wake up.
No, I try to avoid it, but when you get on the phone, all of a sudden, because a little satisfaction.
Yeah, I know.
No, what you got to do is you ought to just call him one night, and when he answers, just say, "Oh, sorry, pocket dial."
I have had that.
Oh wait, you're not on call? Oh, sorry.
Just kidding.
We have a star-studded cast today. My wife Erica's here, and she is usually also woken up by you, John. So she may punch you later. So we'll see what happens. And we have Aaron, who's fresh back from catching the largest mahi in all of Mexican history. Is that right?
He's pretty big. 43 inches,
green
30 plus pounds.
And lovely. And you ate this guy.
They filleted it right there on the boat, and we ate it that night. It changed colors in front of us when they got it on the boat, which was super cool.
They turned more green or something?
It turned blue, and then it turned back to green, and then they cut it up, and we ate it.
What color was it when you ate it?
Well, it was cooked.
Is it like a litmus test?
White fish.
I'm just glad you didn't get off by one of the cartel members or anything down there.
I did have a cartel member approach me and ask me if I wanted anything, and I was like, "Gracias, no."
I just want my mahi.
He was going through it, man. He was like, "Coke, X,
wow,
weed." It's like, "No, thank you."
Wow, what a cool experience. We went down a couple of years ago and went to Chichen Itza, and we saw the pyramids and stuff. That was great. And then we went sail fishing, which was, if you haven't ever done that, that is an experience.
We thought I hooked into a sailfish at first, because the way this guy was jumping out of the water, and he was so far back, he was fighting hard.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I hope that's a sailfish. And then as we got him closer, it's a mahi, but it's a huge mahi. Will caught a 5-foot barracuda.
Yeah. Last time we went out with Will a couple of years ago, he caught a barracuda. I think that's just, you catch what your own nature brings out.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Will is a barracuda. I
don't know.
I'm a funny looking fish head.
I've often said that about you. All right. Talking about funny fish heads, we bald guys with beards, we're taking over.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you think, John?
It feels like it was like nowhere in the last 5-10 years. Everybody has it. So.
Well, I think finally we're getting away from that. That's sort of like lion cut with a little ponytail and the.
Oh, everybody's trying to cover it up.
You mean the skullet with the tail?
Yeah, what is that all about?
Well, they have the skullet, which is like the mullet, but you just don't have any hair on the crown. It's like the Jean-Luc Picard, but with a ponytail.
You got to be a professor or something to wear that.
Yeah, you got to be like a law professor, like, I don't know.
This has already descended into madness.
Yeah. Let's get back to the ER.
All right, so we were trying to figure out what to name this episode, and we were having a good conversation before this. We were saying that your life is kind of like the pit of Albuquerque, and the more we talked about it, it was that you love your job, and you love your job because it's chaos. Yep. Is that I have been to the ER a couple of times, and I must say you're right, but for reasons I kind of didn't expect, which is that there's a lot of people coming in. And are they coming in with the same stuff here, or are they coming in with exotic stuff?
I mean, that's what I love about the ERs. You never know what's going to walk in the front door, right?
Yeah.
That's what we were kind of talking about before. You never know what you're going to get when you walk in, and that's what I love about the ER. I mean, you have an abdominal pain, you have a chest pain, a back pain, a head bleed, sprained ankle, sore. I mean, it's all across the board, which is what I love. And then, it's just the chaos down in the ER. And I love controlling that chaos, which is the best part.
I really thought about doing ER medicine too, but I don't think I was smart enough. I had to go to the breakdown line, which is brain surgery. But in your job, what if something comes in, you don't know what the heck it is? I mean, anything could walk.
Well, has that ever happened before?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's plenty of times where people come in with something and you run some tests and you're just like, hey, maybe I don't know exactly what this is, running some tests, making sure that there's nothing, life-threatening, nothing surgical, none of these types of things going on. And sometimes I can tell them like, hey, I think I know what's going on. I think it's this. I can't prove it on this test essentially, but I think this is what's going on. But I can tell you exactly what it's not. And you're not having a heart attack. You're not having a bleed. You're not hemorrhaging. You're not having some kind of infection or surgical. And sometimes that's even more reassuring to people, is letting them know exactly what it's not. Because that's what everybody's greatest fear is. They come into the ER and they're just like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm dying because of this. And I can tell you, listen, you're not doing this. You can explain every test. I mean, we have Epic on our phone, you know what I mean? Yeah. We can pull up the medical record and I can literally walk through their entire record with them and walk through every test we've done and try to give them more reassurance. So, I mean, there's plenty of times where people walk out of the ER and I just have to diagnose them with abdominal pain or something, or different things. And I can tell them, I think what's going on, but I can let them know, at least reassure them, hopefully, that they're going to be okay when they go home.
All right. I got a hard question for you.
Oh, here we go.
Are you ready?
Need more coffee.
Do people lie to you?
And like patients?
Do they come in and they tell you something other than what really happened?
Only about chlamydia, probably.
I promise we weren't going to talk about STDs.
Right, chlamydia. We were talking about syphilis before. Yeah. Oh yeah, all the time. I mean, people are sometimes not as truthful, and I get it. I mean, it's an embarrassing situation. You're in there sometimes, and
something stuck where it shouldn't
something
be.
stuck. Yeah.
You might have fallen.
People come in with embarrassing situations, or they're in a position sometimes. I mean, plenty of times where come in and they can't tell you the truth because of what's going on at home or different things. So you have to kind of suss that out sometimes, or you have to really try to. And it's hard in a 10-minute interview to try to gain somebody's trust, right? You have to try to make sure that you try to make them feel comfortable, and then you try to go back and reevaluate and talk to them multiple times, and hopefully you try to build some level of trust until you tell them, okay, well, I saw this on your blood work, or I saw this on your urine. It's kind of like, do you want to talk about that? Do you know anything about that? And then hopefully by that point you've built some trust and relationship, and people can be a little more open with you.
Okay.
I mean, you try not to go with any predispositions about anybody, but you can sometimes try to look through a chart, see what they've been there before, different things, and you can kind of be like, okay, well, maybe we need to talk about this or something. But of course, I mean, everybody's in a vulnerable situation. I mean, being in the hospital, especially being in the ER, you get all self-control taken away, right? I mean, you're literally...
I lost it a long time ago with marriage.
You're literally sitting there with somebody telling you, okay, we're going to run these tests, we do this, and you're like shouting orders at you almost. So you try to like lose like the sense of self-control. So, I mean, it's a very vulnerable, tough situation to be in for sure, for anybody.
I don't know if this rings true for you, but I think over the years of doing this, and you get involved deeply in people's lives. I just think about all the different crazy things that I have to suss out, as you say. Do you think you get less judgmental? I mean, or more judgmental? There's part of what we do where you get when you get tired, you get kind of judgmental about it. And I fight against that. But I mean, it's very hard. It's a hard part of our job, is to suspend the judgment of someone.
Absolutely. I mean, there's plenty of times people come in and, people are on drugs, or people have assaulted people, or they're in custody and stuff. And you still have to try to remember that's a human being, that's somebody's mom or dad or son or brother. And you have to try to treat them with the respect that they deserve. I mean, medicine can jade you, as you know. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's one of the toughest jobs in the entire world. You know what I mean? But you try to go back and remember that that's somebody's parent or brother, and you try to treat everybody with human being, and just try to do the best you can and try to treat everybody with dignity and respect. But I mean, again, I have to check myself at the door all the time as well, too, and just make sure that, hey, remember, I keep that humanity. You know what I mean?
So how do you not get, I mean, the big discussion among surgeons these days is about burnout and getting jaded. And I mean, you live with as much pressure as a surgeon does. I mean, I walk in there, you got 15 different beds, you got somebody wailing and screaming, you don't even know what they got. And then somebody with a hangnail who's screaming louder.
Yeah, exactly.
But how do you not walk away from a shift in that and just hang your head and feel jaded about it? And you love the chaos, you said.
Yeah, I mean, I love the chaos. I love controlling the chaos. And then, I mean, I try to think about that. When I go home, I truly try to decompress, try to take things home with me, try to go, camping and fishing when we're not doing things. Try to get away.
Rage rooms or anything?
No, not yet. I don't know. My wife's pregnant right now. We're so maybe when that stress starts happening, I'll need something like that, But
we've got 7 kids. So if you want to stop by, we could hook you up with kind of an experience.
Yeah,
we could have we don't have anybody in diapers, but you just let me know what you need. We can provide teenagers all the way down. That's probably prophylactic. You meet one of those, you'd be like, I don't know.
There you go.
All right, real good. Well, I'm so happy that you're here, John Stanley. And we got plenty of stories. I got a few stories that I think I want to tell, but they're a little colorful about my trips through the ER with these patients. Thanks so much for being on. We're going to take your calls. If you got them, 96.3 News Radio, KKOB, 505-243-3333. If you have a question, you can also text us or give us a call. All right, we'll be back. All right, we are back with John Stanley. He is a guy who loves chaos. One of my favorite people, works in the emergency room. He tends to wake me up at night with crazy questions about brain and spine stuff. So we were talking a little bit before about how your career goes here. You're not just stuck at one emergency room, right? You get shuttled around, or how does it work? You don't even know where you're going next?
Well, at Presbyterian, we have to work at all 5 facilities. So we have to work at Russ, downtown Caseman, and then 2 of the press now is Coors and Paseo. The Manolinus letter are subcontracted out through Apollo. So yeah, each month we have to go to all 5 facilities. And so
are they vastly different personalities?
Oh yeah,
or
yeah,
people
you get different populations at all of it, which is the cool thing. I mean, it's the good thing because you get a different variety. It kind of mixes it up a little bit. I mean, obviously, you never build continuity. Every time you show up, there's new nurses, new techs, new providers. So that is kind of the downside about it. But the good thing is you get different populations everywhere. You see different stuff. I mean, some of the stuff crosses over, obviously. Yeah. But at different facilities, you see different things. And it is it's a good variety. I mean, that's the good thing. The bad thing about emergency medicine is all the different variety, all the different things. But then there's no continuity, right? You're working days, nights, weekends, swings. I mean, you're kind of all over the place. I used to be a very diligent morning person. Now I just sleep whenever I can.
You're happy. Yeah. My wife would.
Do you have kids? Is it
not yet?
He's got one.
My wife's
on the way.
pregnant right now. Yeah.
Oh well,
got one on the way. So
then you're really never going to sleep.
Yeah. So maybe
do you have a flavor of kid yet?
We're having a boy.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
All right, 50% chance there of figuring that out.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's go back a little bit. So the last guy I had on I was super excited about him, Dr. Gupta, because I don't know if you know him, pediatric anesthesia for cardiology, and very exotic. There's 3 of him in the whole state, and he's one of these reverse recruits. We got him from California, and what he had to say was that things are kind of devolving a bit in California, and doctors are leaving. And that's good for us in some way because somebody super specialized like that. Yeah. But you're homegrown. I love your story. You're sort of a self-made guy. You were darn near cleaning toilets at the hospital, and then decided this ain't for me. I want to work my way up. How did you start? And you were at Press, I think.
Started the Press. Yeah, spent a lot of time at Press. Started hired there in 2013. It's actually where I met my wife also. So we both worked there. But yeah, started as a transporter, running around the hospital. Really? Taking people to and from their procedures, to the OR and back and such.
I think those are the happiest people.
I mean,
they're just like zipping around, and the patients are telling their life stories, and they're just trying not to run into the wall.
No, yeah. Somebody see you driving to bed, you're like, slow down a little bit. But
I saw somebody just wail into a wall. This patient's like, oh my God,
Ricky Bobby style.
Yeah. So, but it was kind of, I mean, you're taking people to and from. It was a good way to learn the hospital, get exposed to things, and I was in my 20s. I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life. I just gone to UNM, got a bachelor in biology, which you can't do anything with.
Well,
and so
look at a microscope.
Yeah. So I knew I wanted to go into healthcare. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I did that.
She did it for a couple of years?
Did it for a couple of years. Then I worked in CT and MRI as a tech aide for a couple of years.
So your wife, what does your wife do?
She works over at PCC, the Presbyterian Care Connection.
So you were like, I got to transport this patient over here. What's going on?
Well, whenever we met, we were in transport together. So yeah, I was always trying to team up, trying to get on her job so I could transport a bed with her and stuff, and try to talk to her and try to see if she would notice me.
That's love.
Had hair back then, so once I lost the hair, she noticed me. But that was good.
Women are not attracted to guys with lots of hair. I don't know if you know that, Aaron, but it's true.
I don't know. I think I did okay. I punched up for sure.
I stole my wife away from a career as a surgical tech, and she's still mad at me about that. All right, so you guys met on the job, and then what was the impetus?
So after you got your bachelor's, did you go get a BSN in nursing, or did you just go straight to PA school?
So and then after I got my bachelor's in nursing in 2013, and then I went to work at Presbyterian. Then I worked there for several years and kind of was just trying to feel things out, working around the hospital. Like I said, transporter, tech aide. I was a nurse tech in the ICU for a little while. I worked in that bed management area, kind of just doing a bunch of different odd jobs, just kind of enjoying life a little bit. And then I kind of started stumbling upon PA, kind of what they did, started shadowing. I was like, I like this. Starting to get in my 30s. And I'm like, okay, let me go back to school and do this. Went to school at UNM, and then came back to work for Presbyterian as a PA now. Actually, I did 1 year down in Las Cruces right after school at one of the ERs down there.
Boo.
Mountain View.
No,
it came right back up to Press. My wife was still here, girlfriend at the time. And so we were doing the long distance thing. And it's it's time to kind of get off the pot, or what are we doing here? So came back up here and never looked back. And it's kind of full circle coming back as a a provider now. It's kind of starting from the ground up. It's a cool story. So.
I knew a really decorated pediatric neurosurgeon, and he was a janitor. He was literally cleaning toilets, and he met one of us, and he worked his way up, and that's what he became eventually. He went from absolute bottom to absolute top.
I think it gives you a unique perspective, especially from Presbyterian. I mean, like just working kind of the bottom. I mean, the new building, I don't know a whole lot about the new tower, but the old tower, I know like back of my hand, every nook, cranny. A lot of the nurses now, they're managers and supervisors and stuff. Like I remember when they were just starting, like we built all this time together.
Right.
So you kind of do this whole like building up, working from the bottom. It kind of, I think, gives you a unique perspective, essentially. So.
But before we get off this topic, so being homegrown and being a New Mexico
from Silver City,
yeah. So tell us, now my mother was a doctor as well, and I wanted to run away from healthcare as fast and hard as I possibly could. But your dad was a primary care guy.
Yep, he's a primary care physician down there.
Oh, he's still there?
Same way, yeah, he's still practicing.
Great.
He's how old is he? 64 now. He's starting to get towards the end there. Hopefully for him, hopefully he can retire soon. But yeah, I mean, I was the same way. Like growing up, everybody was like, "You gonna be a doctor like dad? You gonna be a doctor like dad?" I was like, "No." I fought it, and then you kind of get into it, and you're like, "Man, I really like this. I really enjoy this." You kind of get exposed to it, and you're like, "Man, I love it." And I mean, now I can't picture doing anything else. I love my job. I think, especially working in the ER, being a PA in the ER,
that's cool.
I love it. I couldn't do anything else. Even days like you were talking about, like burnout and stuff. Even days where it's tough, you're dealing with multiple sick people, you're sitting in the ICU and stuff. Can still get home and I'm like, man, I mean, I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I'm cranky, but it's just like, I love my job. I think it's the best thing in the world.
I think I had a fair amount of ADHD until about mid-med school, and everybody's like, oh, it's a terrible liability. And then I got into trauma, and I did a lot. We did, actually, Eric and I both did. We did some pretty intense years taking care of bad car wrecks and trauma and like mass casualty stuff even. And the ADHD comes in handy. You can manage 5 or 6 different things all at the same time. You sound like you have the same problem.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I did. Your brain's going 1,000 miles an hour. You're all over the place. And like you said, I mean, you have 10, 15, sometimes 20 patients, and they're all dealing with different things. You're having to manage them independently while still giving them all the time that they deserve. But your brain's going all million miles an hour. And like how it works at the main facilities is a lot of the shifts you spend your first 3 hours up front in triage. So you're front loading. So you're getting in those first 3 hours,
and then you follow
those
patients
10, 15 patients, and then you go to the back and then you start managing while you're picking up more. But all of a sudden, you're having to deal with all these things that, in a short amount of time, essentially trying to suss out who needs to go to the back, who needs to go to a procedure, who needs to do this right away, different labs. And, again, you only have 10, 15 minutes with the patient sometimes. You're trying to order all these things right away. So
are the shows about this correct? Is there like big competition between the docs and all that? Oh, wait, Aaron's got a question.
But no, I don't have a question. Before we get to that, so save that question. Should probably take a break, come back after the break, and then we'll get that answer.
I think you're too interesting. We'll have to go a whole second hour here. I mean, I haven't even gotten to the dirty stories I want to talk about. Oh, there you go. All right, Jerry, I guess.
We could do? Well, we'll talk about it off the air.
All right, 96.3 News Radio KKOB. The doctor is in, and we've got John Stanley, and we are talking about ER medicine. Give us a call if you got any questions, 505-243-3333. We'll be back. All right, we are back. 96.3 KKOB. The doctor is in. We're here with John Stanley, and we know each other because he calls me in the middle of the night. Not in some romantic way, no, really just because he wants to wake me up with difficult questions on patients from the emergency room where he loves the chaos. One of the things I heard you say before that you had to really limit what we were going to do today because you have a problem cursing a lot when you're in the emergency room. And I'm sure it's because the labs aren't back or the patient's trying to die on you. Is it that intense? I mean, are you sometimes doing chest compressions and how bad does it get?
I mean, being a provider, I have to be honest, I haven't done chest compressions in a while, to be honest with you. Usually you're just kind of managing and stuff. So, but a lot of the docs handle a lot of that more. So kind of just trying to play support as well too. So, but I mean, it is. I mean, you have, people coming in, you're coding them in the code rooms, and then you're dealing with other stuff in other rooms. You're going back and forth. Sometimes, I've been with super sick people, in like a code room or something while on the computer trying to read labs from another patient sometimes too, or responding or something. So, I mean, that's the compartmentalization, the ADHD we talk about, just a bunch of different areas and stuff too. So,
well, before we went on the break, what I had asked you is it really like this? Because I wanted to be Noah Wiley, in whatever
in the pit.
The original ER, Aaron.
Sorry.
I mean, I'm that old. And I guess he ended up on the pit thing. But is it I mean, it's chaos, but it sounds like it's still thrilling to you after many years.
I love it. I think it's the best job in the world, like I said. I mean, there are aspects. I know everybody talks about the pit now, because it's the new hot show and everything. They just did a second season, which I haven't watched, but need to get around to it.
I can't watch it now that I'm a doctor. Like I look at it and I'm like, they did brain surgery in the ER and they came out and the guy had a Band-Aid on his forehead. And I'm like,
on the pit?
Yeah, it's just
that wasn't
it wasn't the pit.
No. You should probably give it a try.
A lot of those shows, I mean,
the pit is probably the most accurate that I've watched, and you cut some of the episodes, but they didn't do that.
Okay, yeah, no, that was the original ER one.
I mean, everything's Hollywooded up, right? So I mean, everything they're doing, I mean, it's going 1,000 miles an hour, the worst possible case scenario. I mean, it's all over the place, right? But the pit actually did a cool thing. They partnered with a group called MRAP, which is a really good emergency medicine resource. They do a podcast, they do conferences, they have a lot of continuing medical education. So they partnered with them, and so they made the medicine actually really good. The medicine's actually very accurate. We were talking about this before. It's like on these medical dramas, like they start an IV wrong, and it's like you couldn't hire one nurse to come on and just show you how to do an IV or something.
Please make it
like,
real.
or to make an EKG look real or something. It's like, come on, guys. But they actually made the medicine actually pretty accurate because they had those guys. Now everything's Hollywooded up a little bit, but for the most part, they did a good job.
All right, Jerry, do we have a text question?
We do. They want to know your thoughts on the GLP-1 and the GLP weight loss.
All right, John, I'm going to let you take that away. People come in with problems, for example?
Being in the ER, I mean, I see the problems of them. You know what I mean? I see the consequence, all the things.
The side effects.
The side effects. All the things they tell you on the TV commercials. To watch out for.
Yeah, you could have.
So I mean, and this is a response I give to a lot of people. Is like I'm a little jaded because I always see the complications of things. I always see the side effects of things. I always see those things. I know a lot of people that are on them and they have great weight loss. They have good. Yeah. I mean, they're doing very well for them. So, I mean, I do think that they have a very good spot, here for us. I mean, I only see the complications.
What is it like insulin issues or what do you see?
Yeah. I mean, just the other night, I saw somebody that was on one over at Rust and they were on that and they ended up having what's called euglycemic DKA, which is basically like people think of a diabetic emergency when their glucose is through the roof. Yeah. They have all these different inflammatory markers there also as well. This one, their glucose is normal, but they look the same exact way and they're throwing up and they're having and they're super dehydrated. And so you're having to basically start insulin and pump somebody's glucose not that high and then watch their electrolytes because insulin will shift that potassium in, and so you're having to pump that up while you're doing these things. And, you kind of make people pucker up when you start an insulin drip on somebody whose glucose is normal, but you're having to give them glucose at the same time and stuff. And so that's the fun part about emergency medicine. You're dealing with that. And then right next door, you've got an NSTEMI, and then the next door you've got an ankle sprain or something, So, I mean, dealing with all those things, again, small population, it's not a very common thing that happens, but it's something to look out for.
You're such a gunslinger. I love it.
But it's fun.
So if I understand that correctly, basically it kind of makes the cells, unable to react with the insulin correctly. Is that what it is? It's
Which
with the GLPs?
Well, the GLP-1 and the SGLT2s, I mean, they're working with, with different enzymes in your gut and such, and trying to work with the insulin and trying not to reabsorb as much. So, I mean,
it's like an insensitivity thing that develops, when they get sick. All right. Well, anyway, I have to look up that more, but I know that people can get pretty sick on them, right?
But a majority of the people that are on it are usually pretty good. Small population have the side effects. I think that's probably what the texture was looking for.
People have really good results. I mean, I see people lose weight on it. You still got to do diet and lifestyle. You can't just rely on that because it only gets you to a certain point.
Right.
But the majority of people have very good results on it. It seems like. Again, I see a lot of the consequences, side effects. So
sure.
It's tough. People ask me, should I get on this? I'm like, why don't you just try to go for a walk and exercise more?
Go for a walk and put down the Twinkies.
Try not to take the cheap route around a quick. Let's do this the right way. Stuff that's not going to put you in the ER later on. Hopefully,
Jerry's screaming in there when I said remove the Twinkies.
Let's switch back to your family history. So I love the fact that your dad's a doc, but you were kind of inspired with science because your granddad worked for NASA.
Yeah. So originally we're all from New Mexico. He went to school in Las Cruces in Mexico State. I'm a Lobo, so boo. But and then he moved to Houston. That's where a lot of my family's based out of now because he went to work for NASA. And it was very early on. Just some fences, buildings. I mean, he was on the outskirts. Now it's in the middle of.
Did you try to sneak onto the space shuttle?
Back in the day, he used to have some security clearance. We used to go on there. We did not get on there. We used to be able to see some cool stuff. But he worked for NASA. He was an engineer. He kind of went around the world. I've even got pictures of some of his experiments that were released on the space shuttle, space balls and stuff. And they were measuring atmospheric such.
Wait, there is actual space balls?
Yeah. Yep.
That's my favorite movie.
Yep.
So, they're making another one.
So he did a lot of really cool stuff. And then, my dad grew up there, went to school at Baylor, and then he loved New Mexico. And his grandparents still lived here down south in Silver City, down there, kind of around there. And he got drawn back and moved back here. And I've been here since I was 1 year old.
I have not been there yet. Erica's threatening to take me on the Silver City train that's runs through there. Isn't there like an old historic train down there?
No,
I don't think so.
No?
I think we got some hot springs down in Silver, right?
There's the Silverton train up in Colorado.
Oh, that
maybe
might
that's the one. Yeah, down in Silver. I mean, there's a lot of growing up. I mean, you were kind of doing a lot of country stuff, trying to it's out there. I mean, there's a lot of outdoor activities.
Out the Butte, Butte's not far.
Yeah, the Elfin Butte, man. Growing up there as a kid, I used to be a lot fuller. Now
back when it had water.
Yeah, I used to go over there on the weekends in the summer. It was a great time.
And
now it's just like a little river through there. It used to be the place to be for sure in the summer.
It's less of an elephant, more of like I don't know, the mouse lake.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do we need to take them?
No, we're good. We keep going for like 6 minutes.
Well, before we get back to John, then I want to know about your trip to Mexico. So you took the wife and you caught many fish. And did you go deep sea diving?
I did. I went scuba diving. I did my first dives. I only did 4 dives, but I did them all in the same day. And it was pretty spectacular. When you get down there too, the thing is like I did my open water qualification. So they're like, you can dive to 60 feet, sir. And I'm like, awesome. That's deep. And so we get on the boat and we meet with the dive captain and he says, so our first dive, we're going to go down to about 85 feet. We're going to stop.
Oh, no.
And then we're going to go down to 100. Wow. And I was like, I just leaned over to Griff sitting next to me. I leaned over and I'm like, hey, am I good for this? He's like, oh, they don't care. You're fine.
A piece of cake.
But yeah, it was pretty spectacular.
So since this is a medicine show, can you talk a little bit about what happens if you come up too quick?
Yeah. So if you come up too quick, so the way that we would do it is you would slowly start ascending, and about every 15 feet, you just kind of hang out for a couple of minutes. And because what you're trying to do is your nitrogen's building up in your body and you're trying not to get the bends. You're not trying to, you're not, I don't know if you can explain the bends. I don't know that I could medically explain it, but you just take these little stops and these little breaks as you're going up.
Nitrogen is in air.
Yes.
And so what happens is it's in solution. In other words, it's mixed in with the watery part of the blood. And so as you change your depth,
it expands.
And it comes sort of coalesces and comes out of the fluid part of the blood, and it turns out to be kind of like a bolus or almost like imagine a blood clot, but it's made of a gas.
Yeah.
And so that can travel to your brain and cause an infarct. It can be a stroke.
I know about infarcts.
Yeah. So
I will tell you one thing that we did though that I think you probably appreciate. So when we got down there, we had a prescription for Zofran. And so what we did every morning was take a Zofran, follow it with some Pepto-Bismol chewable tablets, kind of as like a prophylactic, and just went about our day and ate whatever we wanted, and it seemed to work.
It sounds like something you do in college.
Well, I mean, the people that I were with, they wanted to have authentic Mexican street tacos. So we were eating tacos on the street in Mexico.
Did you bring antibiotics as well?
Oh, yeah.
How's the C. diff?
Yeah, no. But you know what? Honestly, the one day that I didn't wake up and do that, I noticed that morning when I went to bed, I woke up at about 4:00 in the morning. I was like, oh, my stomach is not right. And so, I think that's the recipe down there. A little Zofran, some Pepto.
Yeah,
good to go.
I'm about to try that. We go to Mexico quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I've had my fair share of traveler's diarrhea. I got Giardia once. So I'm not.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah. That's no fun.
Yeah, came back a couple weeks later and I was just tossing and turning, and it was crazy. And I ended up having it, got on some flagells. It was fine afterwards. But
yeah.
Had my fair share of Mexico's stomach bugs, unfortunately.
So speaking of that, do you see illegal aliens that come in and you got to figure out how to treat them? And they got no insurance and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, all the time.
How does that work? Does the state just take care of them?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure.
You just
deal with them in the ER. I mean, my thing that I tell people is they say like, oh, I don't have this and all that. It's like, hey, I'll do whatever you feel comfortable with. But my job is I'm going to try to treat you. I know Presbyterian has different programs and stuff that they can help with different things.
Right.
They have
Get them
programs.
on medication.
They have things that can help pay them off. You can even get insurance and retroactively go back months at a time to pay for things. So I try not to focus on that too much. I just want to try to treat them as they come in.
Right.
What I mean?
There's no barriers to that though. If they come in and they don't have insurance or whatever, you still take care of them.
No, not for us. I mean, some of the private ERs can do that kind of stuff where they can turn people away. That's kind of the thing about the ER, especially at a big health, like us and UNM and Loveland stuff. We can't turn people away. That's like an EMTALA violation. It's like you come in, you need medical help.
We got to take care.
We have to take care of you no matter what.
And so we see a fair amount of those folks that come in,
which is a good thing.
They've got it is a good thing. They have neurocysticercosis, which is basically a tapeworm that ends up in the brain.
Yeah.
But what do you see in most among that population? Like TB is another big thing that
TB, a few things here and there. Yeah. I mean, I've seen some of those things. They come in with cough and they're coming from different parts of, Central America and stuff. Every once in a while you see those, you get a chest x-ray and it's like, what's that little lesion, have seen that, on the brain before. They should talk about that tapeworm. Some people eating, undercooked pork and stuff. They come in, they're having seizures potentially. So, a variety of all those things, luckily, here in New Mexico, I should have better Spanish for sure. But we have a lot of translators, a lot of different medical translators that we use. And so you try to use those and try to explain everything, get a good history and try to see what you can do to help people out and try to make sure you feel comfortable with them, too. I can speak enough broken Spanish where I can have a conversation here and there sometimes, but not enough medical Spanish where I want to make sure people feel comfortable with the care they're getting too.
How's your Navajo?
Oh, no, none, basically. Yeah. Should do better at all of that. I should work on all of that for sure.
I think there's a lot of interesting challenges to take care of this population. I mean, the one thing I always talk about in this show is the amount of IV drug use and that stuff the bacteria gets in the spine and the brain, all that stuff. But even being able to translate modern medicine to somebody who's lived out on the reservation doesn't really have any health care for their whole life. I tell the story about a guy who came in and his wife had a cane and she was whacking him on the head where the tumor was growing out of the side of his head. And he let that go on for several years. But those kind of things, you see that probably more often than I do.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. I mean, before I wake up at 3 a.m., one of my questions for people is, do you use any IV drugs with your back pain? You know what I mean?
Right,
Making sure we look out for those big red flags and such. And so, I mean, definitely, especially here in Albuquerque and New Mexico, I mean, a lot of IV drug use, a lot of those things, a lot of complications. And so definitely, have to watch out for a lot of that. But again, try to just treat people as best you can and try to care for them as best we can too.
When we come back, I'm going to talk to you about I have two major topics I'd like to talk about. One is stroke care, because I really want to build a stroke program that covers most of the state and takes care. We don't have a comprehensive stroke program. And the other one is the illegal drug use and what happens, and fentanyl, for example. So let's talk about it when we get back. We're going to take a break. 96.3 News Radio KKOB. Give us a call if you've got questions, or you can text us 505-243-3333. Dr. Zen. All right, we are back to Dr. Zinn. I am here with my good friend, PA John Stanley. I keep thinking of you as a doctor because you're very authoritative.
No, I never want to take that away from anybody. John Stanley, PA.
So we kind of left things off with my two favorite topics to talk about, and I think we share them both. We have to cope with both of them. We'll talk about stroke in a second because that's my big mantra. But the drug use and the fentanyl. Is it settling down? Are people using less of it because we're blowing up these boats coming in, or is it getting worse? What do you notice?
I definitely don't see it slowing down at all.
Okay.
I've definitely not seen any kind of thing in the ER essentially where I've seen less IV drug users.
Is it every day?
Oh yeah.
It's every day.
I see somebody that's using something every day. Now it may not be something hard as fentanyl or something like that, but there's a lot of different things. So I mean, definitely something, not an IV drug. Obviously now it's legal. Marijuana too. We see that all the time too.
Oh, really?
Every day. I mean, since, the last couple of years, cannabis hyperemesis has become a huge thing in the ER.
Yeah, I've read a lot about that.
Can you give us like one more minute on that? Is it, are they just throwing up? Are they delirious? Are they violent?
They are violently throwing up. Projectile vomiting. I mean, you could hear it from a different part of the room, and you could be like, "That's cannabis hyperemesis." It's completely different than anything else, and so you could hear that. So I mean, we've got
for all of my stoner listeners. Can you explain how much you have to smoke to make that happen?
I've seen people that claim that they only smoke every once in a while and get it. Some that smoke every single day, or some people that said that like I've smoked every day for 10 years, so it's not all of a sudden now I've gotten it. I think there's probably a level of different things. There's probably some studies that you could probably look into a little bit, but I've seen such a variety of people that have been like, I haven't smoked in years. Now I smoked one time. Now I'm just projectile vomiting everywhere. And I have nothing to support this, but I feel like after we've legalized it and everybody wants the biggest, best strains of different things,
it's probably super strong stuff.
Do you notice any difference between like the vaping versus the like joints or natural,
I tend to see a lot more from people who are smoking it like joints and those types of things. People that are doing gummies a lot too. I mean, because you're not smoking it, it's a little bit easier. You can just pop it in real quick. People that just keep taking it over and over and over again. Just like, okay, yeah. And then all of a sudden you come in, just like now you're vomiting everywhere. It's
Wow.
So how do you treat that? Is it just a one-time thing and you get them past it and say don't smoke again, or
you try to? I mean, obviously, that's correcting their electrolytes, getting them plenty of fluids. I mean, one of the best drugs we have for that is droperidol now. Use droperidol all the time. Yeah.
It's like an older drug you're coming back around to.
Yeah. Well, Haldol, is frowned upon a little bit more because of all the QTC prolongations and such. Right. And you have to get EKGs. Droperidol, you don't have to do that as much anymore, which is good. I mean, we still do to be safe, but you have to get to such high dosages. But I mean, there's a lot of good drugs we use for that. I mean, basically you're just trying to, and every once in a while you just have to admit them for intractable nausea and vomiting. I mean, you can't get under control after I've thrown 5-6 meds at you and in fluids, and you're just still sitting there just puking your guts out. It's like, after 7-8 hours of you doing this, it's like, I can't just keep doing all this stuff.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And a lot of times they come in and they've been puking for 24, 48 hours. I mean, it's horrible. Yeah. And of course I always, afterwards I sit down and talk to them. I'm just like, hey man, like, is it really worth it to do this? It's like, you gotta stop. And then long and behold, sometimes, you see them the next week or two, you just see people. It's like, hey, I remember you from last week, but hopefully you get, through to a few people here and there, but it is a big deal. But the IV drug use, I see every single day.
I kind of remember when Colorado went legal, there was a bunch of medical papers about like not only the hyperemesis, but there's sort of a psychotic component to it. They were smoking so much that, I don't know if you see that.
A lot of people, yeah. Marijuana does have a lot of good benefits for it too. It's like I'm against it or anything like that with medical type stuff, but a lot of people come in and there's a lot of anxiety, depression. I mean, there's a lot of psychological components to all of it as well too. And I definitely think it plays a part in all that for sure.
But what's going to happen with the fentanyl thing? I actually I had an opportunity to potentially be on the board of a startup that has an antidote for fentanyl use. It's almost like one of those, what's that, the drug for alcohol prevention where you take it,
the buprenorphine,
you take it and you get sick if you even
Is it the naloxone? Is that
that's just the reversal, but
the Narcan.
Yeah, it's the Narcan
that's for fentanyl.
Yeah, but in other words, you would take it as sort of a prevent if you have a habit.
There's a alcohol
Suboxone,
medicine you take, and if you're taking it, and if you drink while you're taking it, you get violently ill, and so it's like a preventative.
Oh yeah. What's it called? It starts with a B. I can't remember. But anyway,
buprenorphine, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a version of buprenorphine.
Yeah.
So in terms of trying to deal with the fentanyl, is it still a crisis though with the fentanyl, or is it sort of Because we used to have people coming in that brain dead, every week.
I still see quite a bit of it, to be honest with you. I mean,
that bad though?
Not as much as that, probably. I mean,
Okay.
I do think it's probably getting a little bit better than that for sure. I mean, I haven't seen somebody come in that's like that. I mean, it does still happen. I mean, I do think it's getting better.
Yeah.
But I do see still just a ton of people come in. You're Narcanning them left and right, and you're just trying to get them back on their feet, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I still think it's a big problem. I mean, I do think we're getting better at it, but I still see enough. I'm just like, man, this is still a problem here for sure.
What's your toughest day? Like somebody dies, or you?
Yeah.
I mean, or do you have other problems?
No, I mean, those are the toughest days, right? I mean, the toughest days are whenever kids die. You know what I mean? That's always the one that really gets you. Somebody comes in, you're coding a kid or something like that. I mean, that just kind of brings the
I was
whole
talking
ER.
to Sam Bregman. He's the DA, and I think his toughest thing is the whole child abuse.
Yeah,
you see that?
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, you come in and you can see abuse or something just doesn't add up right. Then you kind of, you can follow up with these. Yeah, okay, that's kind of what happened there. Kids come in and they're just non-responsive, and you're just like, what's going on? Or they and 99% of the time it is nothing wrong. Like it's nothing the parents did or anything like that. It's accidents. Right. I mean, I'm not trying to say everybody that comes in should be, CYFD or something like that.
Right.
But you do see it. You're just like, man, how did they get these bruises here? How did they do this? And it just doesn't add up. And unfortunately, sometimes they do end up passing away, and that's a tough day. That's a super tough day because, I mean, as you know,
there's nothing you can do.
Nothing you can do. But in medicine, there's no other job in the world where you're going to go and deal with that and then go back to work.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not going to deal with that. You're not
go to
gonna
the
deal
next guy.
Child abuse or coding somebody or somebody dying or having to go give somebody the worst news of their life or telling that they have stage 4 cancer, they have a brain mass, or telling their mom that they have these things. And then you have to go back to work. And then you have to go see the other 15 people that still deserve all of your attention because, and my dad told me this a long time ago, and I try to live by it. Everybody's one of one. You know what I mean?
Right.
It doesn't matter what's going on in that next room. It doesn't matter what's going on there. So,
well, interesting. I think my last question for you is, you have some way of not taking that home with you that, you kind of survive with this. Is it wine?
A little whiskey here and there. Yeah, definitely. No, I just try to always, I try to be as positive as I can. While I'm at work, I try to, even when I'm grumpy and running around and stuff like that, I'm trying to be upbeat, trying to have a good time. And I just try to remember that what happens there stays there. When I come home, I have the best wife in the whole world and I love her and she helps me out so much. And
plus
so she helps
you
me
love the
decompress.
chaos.
And I love it.
So why not go back to
and I love it. And I was like, I'll get ready to go tomorrow. And I get to help people. That's the best thing in the world is helping somebody.
John, you got to come back and talk to us again. This has been the Doctor's In. So fascinating to hear about your career in life. We'll be back in 2 Saturdays.
Thanks for having me.